Hello, I'm Bain from Christian Voice New Zealand. I want to talk to you about what's going down in the Middle East, but first, I really do want to talk about what's going down in our own hood. Currently, New Zealand is facing significant challenges. These include economic instability, security worries, a cost of living crisis, lawlessness, entitlement issues amongst some of our citizens, racial tensions, a pervasive distrust, a disconnect between the government and the population, strain on the healthcare system, dissent, poverty, and educational problems. Now, these issues, to be fair, are not unique to New Zealand, and they're prevalent in many Western democracies worldwide. However, the most critical problem overshadowing all others is the widespread lack of trust amongst people. Now, this lack of trust extends beyond the news media, especially during the COVID crisis when its credibility was called into question. But this erosion of trust is evident in daily lives, leading to increased security measures, surveillance, fear of strangers, and even suspicion within our own families. But the prevalence of mistrust is a significant concern impacting not only personal relationships, but also societal cohesion. The escalation of tensions fueled by mistrust, lies, and a fear is creating a divisive atmosphere even in our own country. There's so much unrest the nations of the world are all stirring. Proverbs 30:33 says, "For as churning cream produces butter, and as twisting the nose produces blood, so stirring up anger produces strife." Look, I don't know if you've noticed how many individuals, groups and organisations in this nation are stirring up anger. They're looking to produce strife. Well before the change of government in 2023, there's been tensions based on mistrust, lies and fear, which is motivating this country to become the shaky isles. And you know what? I'm not speaking about earthquakes, but the division that they're putting between the people of the land. Commentators in the United States have remarked that the country has never been so divided, but we can't definitively claim that this is the true nature of the nation. But the prospect of a civil war in the US is a genuine concern to them. And I must caution that such a scenario is very much a possibility within the borders of New Zealand, given the growing mistrust and civil unrest permeating in certain parts of our country. New Zealand may not face external invasion, rather it could face internal collapse. But returning to the core issue at hand, mistrust, is crucial to pause and reflect on it. Consider the news media we no longer trust, even the politicians whose trust score has plummeted, the diminished trust in authority figures. In this climate of distrust, you really do have to ask the question, who can you truly rely on? Who is it that you're going to trust to get you through the volatile times that we're facing? Now, discussing the situation in the Middle East, it's notable how many religious leaders have latched on to the idea of an impending apocalypse. It's particularly focused on the tensions between Iran and Israel as prophesied in the book of Ezekiel. While acknowledging the significance of these events, it's important to avoid sensationalism and fear-mongering. Predictions of specific dates should be taken with caution as they can lead to disappointment and foster distrust when they don't come to pass. The recent incidents between Israel and Iran involving bombings and missile launches, of course they're concerning. Potentially they could escalate into a larger conflict. However, it's crucial to analyse the situation objectively and not jump to apocalyptic conclusions. Without a doubt, war is imminent, but at this stage, neither side have an appetite, but we know it'll happen. And you know what? You don't have to be a Bible believer to acknowledge that. Jesus said he didn't know when the end would happen. All these preachers screaming at us now, it's happening, need to read their Bibles and understand and start preaching with urgency like tomorrow is the end. I'll tell you what, if they've written a book about the coming end, it's kind of hard to accept it's true, unless they've been speaking about the need for repentance and judgment. It's the thing that's kind of missing. So yes, Jesus did speak of the time that we're living where you'll hear of wars and rumours of wars, but see to it, he said, that you're not alarmed. And here's the kicker for all those pastors, verse 44 in Matthew 24, so you must also be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you don't expect him. Now, I have to tell you, we started speaking about mistrust. To be honest, if you mistrust a church leader, who can you trust? I'm concerned there are so many church leaders who cannot be good stewards of their word, who can no longer be trusted to speak out and prepare even their own congregations about the coming days. Jesus said in the end, verse 21, for there will be great distress, unequalled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equalled again. You're right to mistrust. There's plenty of reason to feel that way, but let me end with this. In an era marked by increasing threats and uncertainties, as the global economy continues its downward spiral, individuals worldwide are in desperate need of guidance and leadership, unlike any other period in history. The outlook for the future appears bleak and only seems to be worsening. It's widely recognised that a beacon of hope is required to navigate the mounting crisis facing the world. Renowned English historian Paul Johnson emphasised that the crucial lesson that prudent, strong and courageous leadership is irreplaceable. This essential element is currently lacking in this civilised world and must be promptly sought as nations are poised to entrust their governance to any individual who can offer viable solutions to global challenges. It's important to note that the individual who emerges in this capacity may exploit the prevailing atmosphere of mistrust. They may embody the Antichrist, the deceitful offspring appointed by the father of lies. In a world where trust is scarce, the Bible stands as the sole source of truth amid the increasing darkness. You know what? I cannot emphasize enough the importance of seeking guidance from the Bible and for fellow Christians to navigate a world rife with mistrust and uncertainty.